Hello, everybody. Good evening. This is Dr. Rao Kolusu. Uh, I'm starting my room at 7 o'clock as I promised, Central Time. I'm on several channels at the same time. I want to engage as many friends as I can because time is premium for everybody, and this is morning somewhere and evening somewhere. So I thought I will open this a little early, but as I was saying yesterday, I started a long stunt of every day coming in here and meeting with my friends and helping them go through a exercise in awareness of keeping quiet and calm in our mind. You know, as I was explaining yesterday, for our wellness and for our mental health and for our focus and concentration and also getting things done in so many ways we need a calm mind, and also dealing with the problems of the information overload and so much of information coming through us and not able to control that and not able to deal with it very much is affecting a lot of kids also. So people are trying to deal with them with other ways, but my way is to just have an exercise where you are calming yourself down, and thereby you are really um, taking a handle on this persistent thought or restless thought or dull thought, whatever you name it. It's kind of understanding the mechanics of thought and actively doing something about it on a daily basis. So that's the whole idea. I'm sure a lot of people have their own methods of coping with it, but mine is more like not only coping with it, but also rejuvenating ourselves. That's kind of thing. Uh, so I welcome everybody. Uh, Nice to be here with you all. And also, I welcome friends from England too. They're coming on some of the channels. So, today we're going to examine what we talked about it yesterday and see whether anybody has any other questions or doubts or comments or criticism, whatever they want to participate. They're welcome to participate. But basically, we're going to talk about overthinking and need for calming our mind on a daily basis and really understanding why this information explosion is really going to affect our mind and our brain in the long run. So better take care of it. Maybe it will be easier as you go along, as the information is going to explode with the artificial intelligence. A lot of it will be handled by the uh, uh, AI, I'm sure artificial intelligence. I'm very happy about it because a lot of the drudgery is taken out of my hand. So I feel comfortable using an artificial intelligence, but at the same time, I feel comfortable teaching this measures of controlling our mind without getting berserk with the whole explosion of information, right? You take any profession has this episode of it doesn't belong to one particular profession. Maybe something like lawyers and doctors and accountants. It is obvious that they have to do it. But even if you take a housewife who has in the house that doesn't have a job or anything before, now she has side hustle. online businesses that they can do, which is wonderful because a lot of people will become entrepreneurs and create new opportunities, new jobs for a lot of people. So, but they have to handle so many things, right? And that multitasking is something you got to understand and team it and get yourself to one thing at a time thing, right? Pay attention to every action, which is what I say, which I do myself, even though I accomplish so many things during the day. But I have several roles: physician, informatician, EMR person, wife is there, daughter is there, so I'm a husband, I'm a father, and other things too. So all these things are gathered together. Then I have several roles where I have to use a lot of information, So that is why I kind of cultivated these habits from the ancient sciences of yoga, Vedanta, Ayurveda, and all. They have wonderful wisdom, wonderful hacks that will be very applicable to modern science, modern times, right? So I kind of employed them in my life, and ever since I've been not hurried, really kind of forget things, nothing like that. It's like a very serene, calm, quiet mind that helps me to be in the present and to be able to accomplish things that others would be hurried and then done in a way that missing out the important things sometimes, and also this um, uh, mental tension unnecessarily. Those things are not there. Uh, Paying attention to the new things, you'll put a lot of energy in there and you see whether you're accomplishing things or not. For all these things, this calming the mind exercise in the morning really comes into handy. Actually, I do a lot more than this, but I thought at least this much people should be doing it. Uh, one whole hour of wellness club exercises, the whole 1 hour, we don't engage in entertaining talk, small talk. We are really our body and getting our mind to the focus and deep breathing and so finally focusing our thought. All those things are accomplished during that 1 hour. You know. Um, well, no, I'm Dr. Rao Kolusu. I'm an internal medicine physician, practice in the United States, and I'm also with a master in medical informatics. And I'm also a very enthusiastic student of ancient, where I learned a lot of yoga, Vedanta philosophy, and Ayurveda way of taking care of people, and so many other things are there. But basically, they are closer in and are more, more in mind, like us, really anxious and hurried and all that. So, a lot to learn from them. So, once we have the philosophy, how they approach your life, been very stable for me. Okay, so even though I live as a modern physician in the United States, um, go more towards the nature and nature. So thumbs body and be to that, and also eat sensibly and active, and also sleep better, and also you have this calming the mind thing. So, what happens in our morning routine is we gather around 6 o'clock Central Time, and then we start with uh, first three principles I tell them. Just be here and now for the entire hour, be in the present, and deep breathe with each exercise, and do the exercise on the sides of the body. Then they will pursue the exercise with me we may do some warm-up exercises, warm-up breathing, warm-up exercise. Then we go into series of asanas. When you do the asana also, we are doing one at a time. But the whole thing was deep breathing, stretching, and taking our time and not being hurried or anything like that. Then our sympathetic overload goes down and our parasympathetic nervous system gets stimulated. So people are more relaxed and more with it, and then they establish themselves in the present moment. That is the essence of my yoga practice exercise. And then at the same time, you need the body. You kind of put the body through kind of tougher exercise as you go along. And according to the disease that may be there in some people, according to the age, according to the sex, and all that things will matter. Hi, Sanya. Come on in.
Hi, Dr. Rao.
How are you?
Good, good.
Yeah. I started a little bit early because,
Oh, nice.
uh, but I was just talking. I think you don't know. So Sanya knows our routine very well. So for the sake of audience, I was describing them to what kind of hour we have in the morning, right? So I have come upon AEIOU, the vowels we have. A for alertness, E for energy, I for insight, O for Om, and U for universal consciousness. What it is A is you become more alert after the practice with 1 hour with us, and you become energized for sure, and then you'll have some insight into workings of the body or workings of the mind or the spirit or whatever. So I kind of gives at least one insight if you want, or you can ask for it and explore into that too. So anyway, you'll gain insight into something, either your daily routine, or how your body is functioning, or how your emotions are going, or how your thoughts are going, whatever, right? And relationships, everything is a game, right? And then O is like a primordial sound that has got this mathematical composition, which is very good for the our body in so many ways. And so there is a lot of Om I can talk to you about. It's not just a religious thing. It's more like um, how that was constructed, how the sound is really. You should not sing. You should really say it out loud. Then what happens is your breathing improves much better. Om has got three different letters, A, U, Ma. When you do A, you kind of activate your visceral plexus in the abdomen, and U for the thoracic plexus in the chest, and for the throat plexus, cervical plexus, right? So it definitely has effect on your nerves and nervous energy. So we kind of go through that, and then finally we kind of try to be with that universal consciousness where we are all as beings in one energy. So that is the idea. Initially, people may not realize that, but as you're practicing every day to be in that present moment, to be in that energy, it goes without saying that you walk into that. Actually, you are in that. You are not separate anymore. That kind of thing. Okay. So, Sonia, how was it yesterday after you did? Any questions, any comments, any insights?
Yeah, I had some questions with regards to. I had someone, of course, text me afterwards how I came out of, how I did the coffee, quitting coffee.
Yeah, 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 yeah,
And yeah, and I think, we went through that a little bit, you know,
yeah,
in the mind on the meditation part, right?
yeah,
So they were asking me how I did that. And I think you can explain it more than I do because,
yeah,
after we did that for a little while, right, we could
yeah,
just like, the mind is now under our control, right, in many
yeah.
ways.
Very
And
common,
so
very, very common
we
thing. The
can tell
cough.
it pretty much what
Yeah,
it can do. Right? It's kind of interesting that part because
yeah,
until you described it yesterday, I didn't. realize, you know, that's the power of what we're doing, right? So,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's a kind of any habit, Sanya. It
oops,
usually happens.
am I okay?
You're okay. Yeah, I think.
I think
Uh,
you're muted then.
yeah, 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 muted. I'm now on. Okay. Uh, yeah, any habits, Anya, especially simple things like coffee or tea or smoking, all those things have the same mechanism of formation, you know. So when you get into something new, maybe very attractive in the beginning because you want to try, because other people may say that and all that. And then this coffee taken in the morning, if it is a little bit cold outside, and then you kind of enjoy that heat liquid going into your body, and you feel the heat, and then you feel good, you know. But then initial just experience becomes a routine thing, and when you are not paying attention to it, it becomes a habit without you knowing it, you know. So those habits are formed mainly because we are unconscious about forming a habit. But if you can really draw your attention to how you are really addicted to this particular thing, then immediately it becomes apparent that you are not have to do it. You have the control. You don't have to tell yourself, but just be aware of it, and then it will lose its strength from it, you know, that kind of thing. See? So it's always paying attention that it comes to that, being in the present now. I did this with the smokers in my clinic. You know, we kind of had so many smokers coming in, and then every time they come with a cough or cold and all of that. Lots of smokers have this problem of having bronchitis, pneumonia, because the cilia within the tracheal layers, you know, the in the interior of the trachea, they usually brush all the things outward, and then they kind of scavenger function, right? But then with smoking they become dull and denuded, so they can't move up, so that they won't be able to do the scavenger function to get all the gunk out. So that's why smokers accumulate a lot of not only the carbon, but also the tobacco and other things they accumulate. They don't propel the solution forward upward, and that's why they get into trouble, right? But then when they have those difficulty breathing or cough and all that, they do come to me for antibiotics or whatever we do. And then we usually do, if it's serious enough, we do an x-ray, make sure they don't have a pneumonia or something like that. Or sometimes we discover some masses, but rarely we discover on the chest x-ray. We have to send them for the CAT scan, which we do. Then also we discover too. Either way, I have a lot of patients coming because of the area we live in is kind of one corn company produces a lot of pollution, so there's so much bronchitis in this area, and they don't know how to deep breathe. They generally don't deep breathe. So anyway, they were coming to us, and then I show them their problems as they're happening, and then I show them how they can quit, you know. And that's where I introduced this awareness of forming the habit. What you do, you kind of take out a cigarette, and then you kind of light it up, and then you put it in your mouth, and then do it. Usually you are unconscious of all these things. You just pick up your cigarette and light it and put it without knowing what that you are doing, you know. And uh, and then they get lost in the thought and all that, so they are always forming a habit unconsciously. So to any habit, you got to be aware of what you are doing. Don't have to blame yourself, don't have to put yourself down. It so happened that you kind of allowed the habit to grow and get stronger, and you have the power within you to reverse that. So what we used to do with these smokers, we used to teach them a technique called postpone, breathe, and reconsider, PBR program. So I used to tell them, okay, in this week you may be cutting down some cigarettes, but we don't know. But how much do you think you can do? They may say two or three, or they may say four or five. That's fine. Some people will bravely, oh, I will quit half a pack or something like that. But they won't be able to. But we tell them, okay, all you have to do is first remove all the ashtrays, everything, don't smoke in the house. Those things are there. But then essentially, whenever you have an urge that I have to smoke, just pause for 5 minutes, sit down, and take deep breaths. That's all we told them. After the deep breaths, then if you feel like still smoking, go ahead and smoke. But if you don't have the urge anymore, don't have to smoke, just don't smoke. Then what used to happen, they used to not light the cigarette at that time, and because they did it by themselves, they had the confidence that I can do this. I don't have any help. I don't need to take any medication just by myself. So that builds up the psychological power. Then sooner or later you will discover you are the boss over your habit. I think that's what happened to you, Sanya. You became more aware and you became more alert of what you psychological depending on that, but more like a habit that you thought this is not really big deal. It has slowly gained strength. But the moment you are aware and then you are building the awareness, the inner strength with other things too, body getting strong, mind getting focused, and deep breathing, all these things helped you to quit that. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's great because I'm doing the same thing with food.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Because sometimes when you work from home, you just grab something and
yeah,
eat, right? And so I, what you just said, right? Practice and
yeah,
just kind of pause and take that deep breath before you eat, and
yeah.
then you become more conscious, right?
Yes.
Not only like on the things you eat, but also like the same kind of thing, because that has a lot to do with the not only the weight gain and all of these things that we try to manage, right?
Yeah,
And so I've been kind of doing the same thing. I didn't realize that what I was doing to bring the awareness, just because you pause for 2 minutes and then
yeah,
wait before you eat, right?
yeah. If you allow the mind to run, it will go all over the place and it won't be in your control. But if you allow the mind to be controlled by the deep breath, it becomes easier as you go along. So breathing is something that you do all the time. So if you can have some time set for that, you start to slow down the thinking. Then the things are much better, easier for you to control. What happens is after you slowing down the thought, then you can see some things are positive or something are negative among the thoughts. Then the negative thoughts can overcome one by one. Then you get strength within. You feel good about yourself because you have done it by yourself. you know so these are the things not by willpower but by habit reversal should happen. That means regularly as they're happening, don't get frustrated. Suppose you are fasting today and tomorrow you had to eat a lot because you are craving some food or something that was very tasty that brought in front of you, all that. So don't blame yourself. Allow yourself to enjoy the food a little bit and then exercise your awareness. What am I doing? Am I eating too much? Am I eating too fast? And all those things, they are in the purview of awareness. If you are aware that you are eating too fast, too much, then it will go down into your stomach. But if you slow down and chew and be aware of the chewing and all of that, that means you are mindfully eating the food. Automatically auto thoughts will be slowed down, and then your food habit also lose the habit. So it's very simple. Be in awareness. That's why it's such a important thing to be in awareness, because thoughts are superficial. Awareness is your deep self. So once you bring that awareness forward, you have much control over the thought. Otherwise, thoughts will drive you to a habit, to a behavior that you may not want to keep it later, but then you have allowed them to be stronger. Make sense with that?
Yeah, totally. Thank
Yeah.
you. And I have like, of course, we've been doing uh, the mind and the body, right? How much, like, if like we're starting with new practices, how much is like the body involved first, or is it the mind first that we focus on?
No, it's not like that. It's more like a body mind is one unit, and both have need to be uh, untrained or just understand what is the conditioning that happened to the body and the mind, and both have to be untrained or deconditioned. So you got to be first be aware of what I did to my body, what I did to my mind. You know, most of the time it is not like that. You think you are that. That's why whatever you built, you think, oh, this is me, this is the way I behave, this is the way I eat, this is the way I think, and all that. But you are not that. You are much deeper than just superficial thoughts or the my body's pattern. There are things like genes, there is things like family and conditioning, all those, and some say from your last life, you bring in some habits and all that too. When you see this child prodigy, usually that's the case. They were very accomplished in the previous life, so those tendencies continue. All those things are there. But either way, you will inherit or you develop this conditioning of the body and the mind, and they reinforce each other. Suppose you have a body habit tendency, and then you are sitting down, for example, all the time, and then you don't want to move, and sooner or later, within after your 20s are over, if you are doing it all the time, you become fat, you become lazy, you become slow, and all that, right? And that is a habit, and that feeds on itself. It becomes much more stronger, and that has an effect on your mind. You can be alert, you will be sonorous, you want to sleep all the time. So suppose you are like that in the mind to begin with, and you are an athlete, but still you have this tendency of taking it easy, and then not to exercising as much and all that. That tendency of the mind acts on the body too. This is called psychosomatic and somatopsychic, right? Either way it can be. So you got to take the body mind unit as together, and then see what is most pressing for you. Either body not moving and sitting down, like a obese patient I treated one time. She called me and then she said, I'm not able to get up and walk, I cannot do any exercise and all that because of the weight. Then I taught her some exercises she can do in the chair, and breathing also was there, and the awareness too. And then she was able to get up and walk within 2 weeks. And then she was so encouraged, she continued to work out and walk and slowly, and she lost a lot of weight within a few weeks. So I was very happy and proud of her that she was able to do that. So it's a question of understanding what is where right now. If it is the body is the problem, mind is usually, you remember what we do? We do the exercise at the same time breathing and keeping the mind focused, right? So that's the way it is, So if you start only one part and then don't want to do integrated yoga, then you will have problems. But underlying all this is awareness. If you bring the awareness forth in front of the thoughts, you are better off.
Yeah, that's great. Like I've seen, so now that I'm out of the industry, like when I was working in the financial industry, right? I seen, so like I can now see their thoughts running, even
Yeah.
my friends and the other people who are still in there, because they're still like very much involved in that. How do you like help those people, or how do you go about slowing some of the
Yeah.
the thinkers in many ways, right?
Again, it's the
How?
conditioning, Sanya. It's again we're kind of trained about making it or getting some money and all those things, and then in the process of doing, we kind of sacrifice ourselves, either our health or our relationships or our pursuits of some hobbies, like we like to play an instrument or do a photography or art, whatever they get back. So if you are pursuing things for the sake of things, they will not last long because they will lose their value. And and also you allowed your mind to run like that, that becomes a bad habit. And then they will be living for that. They want to make more money or get a status and whatever. All those things are really superfluous in life. When you are happy within, contented within, then you are much better. But then everybody thinks, if I can get this much money, this many things, I'll be happy. So they don't slow down. They think slowing down is more like a defeatist attitude. But actually, it is not that. It is more like a, you got to understand what is meaningful for you, what is really makes a difference in your perception of life, your relationships, and all those things. So it's always wanting to know what is that is really important for me or meaningful for me. I think people don't stop. Sometimes life events are like that. Not everybody has this luxury time or atmosphere or the friends or everybody around, really making them want to look inside and find out what is life, what they want in life, that kind of thing. So people may pursue money to the point where their health is spoiled or their relationships are not there. Some people get divorced and all that. They get distant from the kids and all that, right? Then they think, if I get more of this status, more of this monies or things, I'll be happy. And that's why they never pay attention that they are training their mind to go in particular superficial direction, and they never understand what is being aware and being involved, being contributory. Actually, when I come and give myself from the heart, I feel the happiest. Okay. um, that's very as simple as that for everybody. If you can give from the heart without expecting anything in return, you're already rich. But that looks very weird to consumer society. I don't blame them. It's a question of really looking at the understanding of life and what matters. Uh, Now, modern positive psychology has borrowed some things from the ancients. The ancients said, you can have your desires, you can have the things that you want, but do them in a right way. That means you're not in a cheating way, but in a correct way. And then you will be happy for a while you are achieving, while you are really attaining to your desires. But then what happens, you will see they're not that big deal. Like, how many movies can you see? How many things are? Meanwhile, you have the danger of going into addictions, right? That's also there. But if you can see the, oh, all these pleasures are not that big deal, and I want to know what is life, what is deeper things of life, and then you begin to look inward within your heart, within your mind. You see the conditioning. For example, suppose you are in a racist family, and then you look at it and say, this is not right, because your inner core tells you that you are the same as other people, and then you don't feel comfortable by this condition. That way you may it for a while, but then if you have a real conscience, it wakes up and looks at what is what, right? In that pursuit, the ancients did a wonderful job of going inward, and with intuitive awareness they found a lot of things that is missing in modern life, because they think it's all old, they don't know anything. Actually, they had a better perception of life because of this intuition that they have. They were not going outward, they were going inward. And there are treasures inside. That is the one people don't realize, because it's not that easy to calm down and slow down and smell the flowers, taste the nectars of life. You can enjoy a bird flying, you can enjoy something of a child laughing, you can enjoy somebody sharing a joke and laughing heartily. All these things are without money, right? You have to have the eye, you have to have the perception of it, then you will be. And the same way, you can be very sensitive to other people's um, problems or their suffering and all that. Then you give a hand because you just feel like fellow human being has this problem and you want to look into that. The more you look into the suffering and understand, you will be out of the suffering first of all, and then you will be forced to other people to come around, right? Then that's a very satisfying love, not because of egotistical, but because you are feeling good that you helped somebody. It could be our people or anybody, but you still will be doing something not just for myself, but for something else, something greater than me. Time and again, we see all the people who are doing something for greater than them, they are much happier.
That's great. I Yeah, I appreciate that because it's not just the other side of like the financial, but also there
Mm.
is stress in like especially with like going into the economies that we are heading to, right?
Yeah.
And so there's that kind of stress as well. But I think the stress is similar, right?
Mm.
And I think that process that you just told us also applies to the other side of the stress
Yeah.
as well. The people
Exactly.
who are not in the financial but still stressful
Yeah.
because they are looking to go after the money still. So both of them are heading. The other one just happened to be more and more,
Yeah.
whereas this one is for survival and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
what you're talking about in terms of the spirit, kind of, or taking that time to enjoy, it's not an option for them just yet, right? And so,
Yeah.
or is
I
that
mean,
how should
see,
they approach in terms of life and how to,
yeah,
kind of,
there is so much of religion, so much of faith, so much of division is all there. So if you look at deep, all the religions talk about the same thing, you know. But at the end, it is all the same thing. Maybe different ways, different paths, but it is the same thing. For me, as a modern man, I am a human being and everybody else is a human being. They may have different interests, different pursuits. That's okay. But why do I have to embark a division within me by identifying with certain things? That's why I tell I'm a global citizen, I'm a human being. I don't even emphasize I'm being a doctor. There are roles, but basically I'm first a human being, a global citizen. That means only one earth, one human tribe, and everything else is really causing us more problems. You will find all the discussion in my book. It's almost done. I have to do some designing and then I'll release the book. In that, I talk about the perpetual wars that we are having in the world. That's because we don't realize this commonality that we all have together. You know, we kind of identify by our divisions, by our separation, and all that, which leads a lot of suffering to a lot of people. The wars happen. See how many uh, people are killed in Ukraine, how many people are really became destitute, lost their world. That's terrible when you see that suffering, you know. But that's all created by some people like the Russians or maybe Putin himself is kind of just want to be powerful and exert his will on other people. He doesn't have sensation that he's killing so many people, destroying so many lives too. Once you are sensitive to that, how can you be identifying with anything? You just have to embrace everybody, and that is very very important to be interconnected. A lot of people feel lonely and scared and then really worried about their life because they are not connected to everything, right? So they feel like I have to be dependent on myself, I have to make my life. All these are do not help you to calm your mind, anxieties, insecurities, and all that. But the moment you open yourself and you are connected, you have so much security, you don't really worry like that.
yeah, that's I think that's great message for everyone in terms of
Yeah,
as much comfort as we can put it out there, right? So
yeah,
there is methods and stuff like that we can deal with. And I think, for
yeah.
the things I'm observing and what's happening all around us, right? And
People
I
don't
think
know
I
that they
don't
are.
know how, like, in terms of what else we can do in
Yeah.
terms of sharing all these things. What you're doing is actually really helping, and of course, I would love to also invite the audience to come up and ask questions as well. If you have any questions for Dr. Rao, whether it's in different, of course,
Nazri is
Dr.
there.
Rao is simulcasting everywhere, so
Mhm.
so you're
Yeah,
welcome to just wherever you are, just come up and also share and also ask questions with him too.
yeah,
So I know that we have some in Clubhouse here, Ken Stupa and Ruby and Ken and Nasty here too, and of course in Wisdom app as well. So you're welcome to, of course, come and chat with Dr. Rao.
yeah. Nazli was there yesterday. I wonder she have any questions today because I want this to be more like a continuous process rather than just one day affair, so that we can explore the possible difficulties of how high Nasli, how we can understand, or maybe like some questions general. All these discussions should help people to calm down and then really work in a kind of peace of mind. Like that is what I was hoping for. You know. So
Hello, Dr. Rao. Hello, everyone.
I
I want to say I feel very good.
yeah.
Wanted to say hello and say thank you so much. I will always ask you if there was something new going on, and thank you so much for your
Yeah, yeah,
very, very high quality free support for
yeah,
the humanity. Thank you.
yeah. Sure. That's nice, Nazli, that you are able to understand this and practice it on a daily basis. And then I want to do this for about 40 days in a row. There's some meaning by that, but that way I can follow up on people and then establish all kind of questions to the rest so that they will be able to understand this is something that they can make. It's not like a um, anything we are doing with a religious fervor or anything like that. We just want to understand the mechanics of our mind and thought and awareness, and where the awareness will be, and then where thought is taking over and controlling us. There's so much more there, but at least if you start with this day break and day end, few minutes of focusing the mind, calming the mind, I think it will go a long way to understand further and to really happen to uh, have this in the back of your armamentarium, like, that will be. I think this iPad went out of power, Sanya, so we lost all the people on the wisdom. We'll reconnect. Hopefully, they will come back.
Whoops.
Uh,
Yeah, I figured that much because I didn't see it anymore. But yeah, welcome, Ken. Love for you to, of course, share or ask questions to Dr. Rao.
Hi, good evening, everybody.
Hi, Ken.
Yeah, hi. I thank you for sharing the information you shared a while ago. I jumped on about 10 minutes ago, so I didn't hear the entire thing. But I was just, I had a question, and I wondered whether, in your opinion, someone can successfully experience calming the mind if they struggle with anxiety, for example.
Yeah.
But if the actual material conditions which may have led to the anxiety
Yeah.
still persist, how successful can they be at really calming the mind unless the material conditions begin to change? So
Yeah.
that's my question. I'd love to hear your thoughts about it.
Yeah, there are several components there, Ken. Because somebody can have advanced that has started because of the external conditions, and then they started to have really understand that kind of thing. Uh, but then you take the patient, for example. Several patients came to me that have conditions where some went to jail or some went to died somebody, and then somebody has illness. All those things were there, so they were kind of were anxiety because of it. Those patients that are really organically anxiety and then they cannot be helped by this kind of exercise is we get of give them pills and we get them diagnose them, we kind of send them to psychologists and all that too. But this is like a natural thing that is available to everybody. I just want them to start practicing and get their own power outward so that they won't allow this overthinking, information overload, or some of these stresses because of things like COVID, those kind of things. Then you will have this natural resources within you that can be part of. This exercise is for people who are healthy but don't pay attention to the habit formation that you are doing, and also not able to recruit this kind of simple things of deep breathing, being aware, being in the moment. Those kind of things are went out of fashion. So my effort is not to tell people you will be get rid of anxiety just because of this, but you may lessen it aid to the treatment that you are going through. Like, for example, one patient I had, she had severe anxiety and she is almost in her 50s, but she could not come to the clinic without her elderly mom. So when the mom came with her, she was very worried too. So I did start her on medication, but I did start tell her about how to really cultivate this inner powers too slowly. So she is allowed to go out on her own at least once a day, briefly. The kind of combination we worked, and then she wanted to take out the medication. She did, and she did very well by cultivating these lifestyle changes. So it's not like a we give lifestyle changes to people who are suffering anxiety because of the money is not there. Of course, there's so much social help in the United States, but if you see, look at other countries, they don't even have that. There's so much inequality. I talk about this in the book also. Why so many people are controlling such a large amount of money, but other people cannot make a end meet even if they do two jobs. So that is it. Again, for that you have to have some perception, some awareness of this poverty going around and how that causes so much problem for so many people. They can't even get talents built and make a money. So this is not about telling you this is going to be panacea for everybody. Even the normal people, unless they do it day in and day out, they won't be able to reverse the conditioning that they have gone through. So this, especially the people who have developed a big ego, and they say I can handle it everything by myself, but then they don't understand how to calm their mind. Two reasons I am doing this is have the wellness, that somebody who is well don't have to end up with all these anxieties and all of that because of the conditions. And second thing is information overload itself is causing this problem in so many people, and they get caught up in running continuous hyper thought all the time, thinking too much. So those kind of people can effectively employ this morning and evening exercise of slowing down and taking deep breaths, and also really understanding their perspective on life. Today I'm discussing more of it. Actually, it's supposed to be just exercise and go, and that doesn't work. But after this, if you do the exercise, then you will see the changes within yourself, and that will be good for you. Did I answer your question, Ken?
Yeah, I think you did. I think you did, and you answered masterfully as well. I mean,
Yeah.
so I thank you for that. I mean, I certainly look forward to seeing what those exercises look like
Yeah, I
and
will.
try them myself.
We will do that right now. Yeah, because my wisdom friends because the computer, I mean the laptop went out completely. I wasn't paying attention. I was talking to Sanya. That's okay, but I'm going to bring it back. It is went down. Usually it doesn't happen. We have a lot of power usually, but I don't know, something happened to it today. So we'll see. So any other questions? Anybody else has? Nazli, you have any other questions? Sonia or Ken? If you have any other question, we talk for a while and then we'll go into the exercise.
Yeah, I don't have today.
Okay, okay, very good. Yeah, I think we will start this. Somebody wants to come up. Let's see. Can show.
Hi, I came on late. I just want to say hello, and
Yeah.
I appreciate you have your room on replay so we can send it to our friends. Thank you.
Okay. Very good. So for those, I think Nazli and Sanya were there yesterday, but for those who do not have any familiarity or did not see the replay, we will go through the exercise slowly, and any questions we will talk at the end of it. But try to be with me on this one. Just play along with me, and then see how what happens with you. So this is like a early in the morning and in the evening. I recommend people to do that because the day break and the meeting the day brings on new things, and you don't want to end up just getting your thought activated and then making you rush to the office, anything like that. Usually when you get up in the morning, just be attentive to what's happening around you. Be aware of the atmosphere, the nature, the animals, or the live human beings, live plants, pets, and everything is there, right? Allow your attention on them instead of thinking about the agenda, thinking about the problems and all. They can wait for a while, but especially in the morning, if you do that, you will become neurologically better and you will become more attentive. You will try to establish yourself in the moment of the present moment. That is the whole idea, right? We do this an exercise in awareness. So for that, simple thing would be just find a place, the same place every day if you can help it, or some other place that is private where there are no distractions, no radio, no television, no social media. Put the gadgets away, and then if you can isolate yourself from all those disruptions or distractions, then you find a place where you can sit. It's better to do the same place every day because the ambience that you have created around that room will bring it this kind of mood easily. We have a meditation room separately in our house, and there people go there, sit down, immediately they can go into the meditative mood. That kind of thing is very good. Okay, and then once you sit down either on the chair or on the floor. If you are sitting on the chair, keep both your feet firmly planted on the ground and keep your spine erect. And then I'll describe how we do this. Take a deep breath. As the deep breath is going in, your abdominal wall comes out, so the diaphragm goes down, right? And as you take the deep breath out, the abdominal goes towards the spine, and the diaphragm comes up, so air comes out of you too. So usually you do this up to 7 count as you take a deep breath in, and then you hold the air for a count of 4, and then for a count of 8 you breathe out, and you do this for 5 to 8 times. And after that, what you do is you kind of feel the sensation of the air coming and touching the LNSA, the tips of the nose, right? And then you place your mind tight to that sensation. That way you are tying the mind to the breath, and take it a deep breaths like that for 8 more times. And then you say, as you are breathing out, I'm not just this body and mind. As you take deep breath in, who am I? I am this awareness within. So that kind of 3 stages. First deep breath, and then tie the mind to that, and then say this particular sentence. So there's a mantra for that. There's so many things, but simply, I'm not just this physical body, just this some thoughts, but I'm beyond that. I'm that awareness that is within me. In that awareness, I'm one with everybody, and that's why I have no separation. And mind calms down with that because of the deep breath do activate the parasympathetic system and take away your sympathetic load. So you do it in the morning and in the evening and in between at least one time an hour, 1 minute every hour. If you can do that, you can be visiting the presence of yours, present moment awareness, and that will be in the long run. It will help you not to be reactive and be more responsive. So many things are involved. But the first thing is don't allow the thought to get activated in the morning. Put it aside for a while and then indulge and part in the life. Okay, now let us start doing that. If you are all sitting down, keep your both feet firmly on the floor and then keep your spine erect and close your mouth and take deep breaths through the nose. Simple. Hold it. Okay, 8 breaths there. Now, in the meanwhile, if you get a thought arisen or something you remember, something comes out of inward you, don't indulge in the thought or don't suppress it. Just observe it like a cloud in the sky. You just let it go and you be the observer, witness, or watcher. When you are a watcher of the thought, you can really see they are separate from you. And if you allow them, they will get stronger. But if you just watch them, they come and go. So that's a good start for the meditation. For the people who are meditating, there are other things. For now, just to focus your breath on the deep breath and then focus your mind on the sensation that you feel with the nose and then just if the thoughts should arise, just be aware of them. Now, the last part of the exercise where you say a question, who am I, as you take the deep breath. And at the height of that inhalation, realize that you are the awareness beyond the thoughts, beyond the body. And as you are not the body and mind, let it go, that sensation when you are breathing out. Okay, that is the simplest exercise that you can do, but there are so many advanced features as you go along. But it depends on each person, and other people may have other experiences, and they can compare with that too. But this is for people who are really never make an effort to be calm by effort, and they are overwhelmed by their thoughts, or they are driven by their emotional attitude, or they are having circumstances where they react continuously, and all those things will be subsided. And when I train the burnout physicians or other people, usually I recommend in the morning doing this present moment awareness, and doing a present moment breathing break every so often, at least 1 minute every hour. And in the evening, again, when you come home before you sleep, do this. That's the recommendation. Now, any notes, anything you want to compare or anything you want to say? So, that's good. Everybody is calm. So that's good too. Yeah.
Yeah, it's Dr. Rao. It's really nice to wrap up the evening this way.
Yeah. That is the thing we need in this modern hurry burry and too much thinking. Actually, the more attentive you become, the more quality you get on every work experience, relationship, and all of that, And also, you will avoid blurting something out, saying something that you don't want to say. All those things will fall down. You will be less reactive but responsive to the life's challenges. But it has to be continued. It depends upon person and then their conditioning, their background, their understanding. So many things come into place. Okay, so we cannot judge them also. Each person will have different experiences, and the more you are calm, the more you can see where they are and help them rather than judging them and branding them. You can understand where their block is, where their problem is, and then if they want to find out, you can lead them towards that. But if they want to just to do this as a part of relaxation exercise, that's good enough. So what I would recommend is make a agenda, like I'm going to do this first thing when I get up. It doesn't have to be so long. It could be just a few minutes, and then you do this once in a while during the day, and also uh, just after dinner before you go to bed. Last 5 minutes, do this and go to sleep. That way, it will be reinforced, and then this will be a good habit for you to be non-reactive in the sense, in the long run, not right away. Okay.
Thank you, Dr. Rao. Have an awesome night, everyone. I think we're in the hour mark.
Yeah. I'm sorry I lost the wisdom, people, but then I could have plugged it. The wire is everything is right there. But I was involved with you. I was paying attention. I didn't see. Suddenly it went off. So I don't know why. So, all right. Anybody else has any other questions before we close?
I just want to thank you. That was a wonderful little meditation, and I certainly be sure. I like the idea of waking up in the morning and looking at the animals and so on.
Yeah.
And I'm going to start this by tomorrow morning.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for that.
Very good, Ken. Yeah. And then I will be doing this every day just to make people establish and also ask good, deeper questions, so
Sure.
they will know my understanding and what I'm doing and all that. So actually, you will end up in a joyful feeling within, and that is why people get really hooked into this, not because in an addiction sense, but you feel good because you are not entering into so many arguments, so many tips and all that. So,
True.
yeah, it's a
Yeah. Okay, great. Thank you very much. course. And have a good night. I don't know what time it is where you guys are, but it's about 9 o'clock here, close to 9 p.m.
Yeah, I'm 8 o'clock, close to 8 o'clock. Seven to
Okay.
seven to eight
Where are you
every day.
located?
Yeah. Tomorrow I'll house on what is it in the clubhouse house. Today we did it in the room, but tomorrow Saturday night, not tomorrow. Tomorrow is Friday, right? So
Mm-hmm.
yeah. So
Okay.
Nazli, you
Where
have
are you
any?
look?
Yeah.
Where are you located, Dr. Rao?
I'm in Iowa.
Oh, okay, okay, okay.
Iowa.
Good,
Yeah.
good. Yeah,
Central time. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Take care, everybody. Have a great night.
Okay. So Nazli, you have any comments? Any questions?
I'm going to be in your room for the next 40 days.
Okay. Good.
But just
Yeah.
here is now 2 a.m. in Germany, so it
All
would be
right.
better if I find you in another time in
Yeah.
the house.
Okay. So I mean,
But
you
I
can.
will do this for 40 days and I
Yeah.
will keep in touch. Thank you so much.
Okay. Bye bye. Okay, Ken, you have any questions?
Oh no, I was just busy working. So
Very
thank
good.
you so much. I
Okay.
enjoyed hearing you.
Okay, good. Anybody else has any questions before I close it? Mohammed, Ronald, Arvild. Okay, I'll be seeing you again tomorrow then. Okay.